Hey guys, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to another video. Today I am back in the studio here to deliver another technique tip video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed my last one, which was the first in this series, all about how to increase your rotation or your turnout, as many of us call it, and also how to improve your placement. So I highly recommend that if you haven't watched that video yet, you watch that one first, because we're going to be using a few of those building block concepts that I shared in that video in this one. And of course, as you saw in the title today, we are talking about extensions, how to improve your extensions, which usually means get them higher. And in this video, my approach will also be to help you improve your placement in your lines as well in your extensions, not just your height, so that no matter what height you're at, you're creating beautiful, technically correct lines. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and before we do get into it, I want to just remind you guys that my brand new program, the Mindset Movement Technique Accelerator, is open for enrollment. That's the program I announced in the last video, which is essentially a series of private lessons that aren't just your regular old private lessons. In these lessons, I'm combining high-level technical instruction with mindset coaching and a few strategies I know as a master practitioner in NLP to help you actually overcome the mental blocks that are manifesting themselves as physical blocks in your technique. Basically, those things that you say you're just bad at, you're frustrated about, you felt stuck and you're not improving in these areas for months or years. In this program, I am here to help you get rid of those blocks, walk right through them, so that you can really experience confidence in your dancing and also just in your mindset. So learn more about the program by clicking the link below, and be sure to apply as soon as you can if you are interested in the program, because spots are already filling up. So I'm excited to share that with you. Again, link is in the description if you'd like to know more. And I'd also like to thank balletokay.com for kindly sponsoring this video. And today it's exciting because I actually get to show you the tights, which I haven't yet done, silly me, in my other sponsored videos. So I'll talk more about balletokay.com and the Zarely tights that they sell later in this video, but for now, let's get on with the technique tips. Also, before any of y'all at me about the height of my extensions, yeah, they're not the highest right now because it's been 3 years since I danced professionally, and I've taken a whopping 1 ballet class for myself all of 2020 thus far. And yes, it is mid-August. But also, for all you dancers out there who feel like you need to apologize for your current level of progress or for any flaws that you have, you don't. You're beautiful. There's my TED Talk. My approach in this video is, first, I'm going to debunk a few common misconceptions about what it takes to get a high développé or high extensions in general. And then I'm going to break down how to not only increase your stability and your ease in every extension that you do, but of course the height as well, and the overall aesthetic, because height isn't everything. You can have your legs super high, but if the line of your leg isn't very nice and you look very strained, you know, what's that height really worth, honestly? So first, I'm going to talk about, like I said, just a few of the misconceptions. So the first thing is really the idea that flexibility is the top priority, or the number one thing that will get your legs higher. And that might be the case in a grand battement, but when you're actually doing a développé, or an extension in any direction, we are using our strength to sustain that position. Usually we're doing an adagio or something like that, and it requires actually more strength necessarily to be utilized than flexibility in order to attain that position. So flexibility is important, however, it's not everything. And I think that's really shown well in the common frustration that a lot of dancers experience. They stretch all the time, but they're like, goodness, I can get my leg all the way up here when I'm stretching, but then when I try to hold it, it just floats down. We're going to talk about specifically what muscle groups to focus on strengthening in this video, but I just want to get that out of the way. The second thing is that a lot of dancers don't really understand the importance of your mindset in approaching, you know, the process of improving your développés and getting them higher. Over weeks, months, and years of telling yourself, oh, I hate adagio, I'm not good at it, or I want to love it, but it's just so frustrating, or just training your mind to look in the mirror and not like what you see every single time that you do a développé, your mind, in a way, it just does whatever you train it to do. So if you're training your mind to attach a very negative emotional perspective and response to the idea of thinking about or trying to do extensions, that actually changes your physiology. If you are automatically thinking like, oh gosh, I'm just not good at this, you know, a lot of dancers feel insecure about the height of their leg, and so what I see happening is, and I see this in a lot of my students as well, they will start to compensate or cheat, as a lot of teachers call it, in the process of going out into their développé, which actually screws over their ability to learn how to have proper placement and to get their leg up, because they're already thinking, I can't do it, I'm not good at this, I have to compensate or do something funny to get my leg up because I'm not naturally good at it. So that mentality usually undermines your approach, which undermines the results. And then also, if you associate negative emotions and stress to the process of doing a développé, your physiology will also change. You're going to, I see this a lot, even in using the language of, I have to hold it. That's a word of obligation, I have to. And then also hold usually has that mental emotional connection of kind of hunkering down. You think, okay, I have to, you know, hold my breath and just stick it out there, instead of suspend. I get to possibility, extend my leg into the air. I get to float it into the air. These are personally words I really like to use to retrain my own brain to enjoy adagio and to almost forget how long I have it up there. I enjoy keeping my leg up there. That really transformed my own approach to adagio and développés. And now I really love doing adagio and getting my leg up, even though it's even when my legs were much higher, it still wasn't like I had the highest legs in the room, but I really enjoyed it because I trained my mind to say, yes, I can, of course I can do this, and I enjoy it, essentially. So mindset is really important. Those are the two main things I will address. The rest will probably come out in the tips. Let's talk about the importance of stabilization. So again, you can have all the flexibility in the world, and you can also be thinking like, I have to strengthen this leg, I have to get it up, and you think so much about crunching on this side or strengthening this leg to get it in the air, but genuinely, you can think of your body like a scale, okay? So counterbalancing is one of the key concepts I use with students to help them effortlessly achieve higher développés, better placement, more efficient movement, better lines with less effort. So in that act of counterbalancing, the muscles that are going to be stabilizing you are actually, of course, the glutes up here. So if you're using your glutes, you're going to be able to not only take your hip over the toes here, you're going to be able to wrap your bum up and under, and this isn't tucking, it's just taking your pelvis forward here so that you actually have weight on this side of your body. That doesn't mean we're tilting, it just means we're taking the whole torso forward and over towards these toes so that you have enough weight tying you down over here in the example of an écarté devant, so that when you actually do your développé, the leg will feel lighter. Notice a palmant was also part of that counterbalance in order to get that leg up without crunching down, without getting a lot of tension in the hip and the quad. Also, you'd be very surprised to know that the side of your body here is extremely important in the stabilization group, let's call it. So your obliques here need to be really strong, as well as your lat muscles. They're the muscles that contract the side of your body, they kind of tap your shoulder blade down there. And so if you're feeling the lats and the obliques, I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be a full concentric contraction. I'm really talking about a lot of isometric contractions. So we're holding muscles, we're not necessarily making them crunch, we're just holding them strong. So I'm taking this hip and this shoulder over my toes there. I'm using my glutes to stabilize me. And also I'm really using, this is called the sartorius, this muscle here that attaches to your hip. You feel this, the inside of the knee, this muscle here, rotating up and connecting to that hip, you're feeling the quad pull up towards that hip bone, it will really help you to have a rock solid développé. And of course, the role of the hamstring is also super important. If you feel that hamstring lifting up towards the glute, or even connecting with the glute here, that is going to also allow you to have that lightness and that lift. And notice I keep kind of bouncing out on my heel. That's just to symbolize how important it is to have your weight readily available on this side of your body if you're trying to get your leg up and in for 10. Some exercises you can do to stabilize this part of your body is a side plank. I love a good side plank. I swear when I started doing these regularly, it really helped me. So some things that I will do in terms of side planking is you can either just go on your hand or your forearm here. And what I love to do is sometimes I just do it without weights. Depending on the day, I might want to just do on my arm here or my hand. And I like to just kind of put the other hand on my hip. And I'm feeling this part of my body lift my hips up so that my body's in one long line. And then from there, you can add some challenge. If you want to make it easier, you can cross the front foot in front of the back foot there. I like the challenge of really stabilizing by putting the top foot over the bottom foot here. And again, to make this easier, you're also welcome to just do this on your forearm. I like to hold that for 30 seconds to a minute. And what I also kind of built up to doing, this really helped me in my strength, is I'll take a 5-pound weight, hold that weight in the air, and I'll bring my hips up as I twist that weight underneath me, and then I look up towards the ceiling. Underneath me, up towards the ceiling. And I'll do that about 8 times. What you can also do for strengthening exercises are Pilates mat exercises that are really like side lying leg series, like lateral lifts. Lie on your side, and you can have your hand on your head or whatever, and just lift in parallel. You can lift with slight rotation, again, while you're lying on the side of your body. Développé forward, go back. You can also do clamshells. A lot of dancers are familiar with that. So those are a great place to start for strengthening. In terms of flexibility, hamstring flexibility is really essential if you do feel like, okay, Kirsten, strengthening is all good, I do actually need to get more flexible. Stretching your hamstrings, just in as simple as a flat back here, stretching in parallel. You can do your lunges to also lengthen your quad and stretch the ligaments in your hip, the muscles I should say. And then also in terms of, picking up your leg to stretch it in your hand, that's a big one that a lot of dancers enjoy doing. Now, I will say, be careful, because a lot of dancers, what I see is just in order to get the leg up, what they'll do is they kind of take their foot in the hand like this, and they'll just start doing this, and then they stay there, and then they're kind of still here, and then they let it go, and it's just, you're not building flexibility and strength in the proper placement. So what I would recommend, and what you can do, is you can just grab the inside of the heel here, keep your hips square, and just stretch here. And what you'll be doing is stretching the proper hamstring muscles. There are multiple hamstring muscles in the hamstring group, and you don't want to just be stretching the inner one when you do a turned in stretch. You want to stretch the outer hamstring muscles. That will really help you. So if you're going to do the leg and the hand stretch, you can work up to wrapping under, like so, here, or even what you can do is you can take your hand, wrap it under, over the arch like this. So you're also getting a nice little foot stretch, and then stretch there. And as much as you can, get that outside hip down and engage the standing leg. So you don't want it to be soft. You want to actually practice using your glutes to rotate, your quad muscles pulling up while you're stretching. Then of course you can let go and hold it. Now for the actual développé in the center, and again I'm just going to be using a côté devant as an example, but these principles do apply to multiple other positions. Now I want to talk about the approach getting into the actual développé. Again, if you have that mentality of, oh, it's going to be hard, or I need to cheat in order to get my leg up because that's all that matters, which is totally not. What I see a lot of dancers doing is they start kind of in a soft fit position, and then they instantly kind of pick up their coupe with their pelvis kind of turned in like that. It's tilted back. You want to start from the moment you take your foot off the floor. No matter if you like to do sur le coup de pied, like a wrapped position, or just take it up the front, doesn't matter. you want to have a neutral position in your pelvis, length here, wrapping the glutes down and under there. So as you pick up to coupe, notice my hips are still in neutral as much as possible. And then I'm still using that rotation. My thigh bone is still turned out as I go into passe. And then as I'm going out into the développé, oh, that was a really bad example. What I see a lot of dancers doing is kind of what I just did. They're like, oh, I have to get it up. So they start already rotating their femur in just to hike that leg up. That will only hurt you over time. In my school of thought, the hip is going to come up a little bit, and that's okay. I'm not an advocate for like perfectly square hips. If you are, that's okay. It's a good discipline to be able to do that. But my school of thought is if you keep your knee going up first, make sure it's rotated. So we're going more here rather than here. The other thing to be aware of is I notice dancers either start by disconnecting their passe from under the knee rather than going up above the knee and lifting. And that actually will cause your leg to feel heavier. It will probably cause you to pull off your standing leg. And again, we want to keep our weight over this side. So what I strongly recommend is think of yourself like you're a flower coming out of a vase and then flourishing out of the top, okay? So that can be seen when we go stay over the standing side, take the knee up, lengthen. You want to be looking towards that top arm, not leaning away from it, but just tilting, lengthening that way. And I'm feeling this side arm tapping down. Again, causing me to feel like my weight is over this way. You neither want to extend your toes too soon and then try to lift it up, or you also don't want to just work on extending your knee up like this and then trying to get it up, because then you're just going to spend a little bit too much time in this very unflattering position. Extend the knee upwards as you're also extending the toe and the shin out at the same rate. When I'm actually in that développé position, I'm working to make this leg feel as light and effortless as possible. I'm holding this standing side down. The second I disengage my abs or my glutes, I'm going to fall that way. The leg is going to feel heavy. Keep that motion going throughout your whole body. The other thing is for développé devant. I know I'll probably get some questions about that. I do think it's really important to, again, bring back that idea of counterbalancing in everything you do. So we start up in our center of gravity here, and then notice that as I go out, my head is also extending slightly back this way. Maybe it looks a little balancing to some of you. It's okay if your training is different, but that idea of from here, we're moving in conjunction. It's not like I get my leg out and then I take my head back. It's all happening in opposition at equal rates. Dancers, I think I'm going to just go ahead and do a separate video on arabesque when I'm ready for that. But at least for now, I hope that was tremendously helpful to you. I want to just finish off by, again, addressing the mindset side of things. I know I mentioned how much language is really important and your belief. So, and again, this is something I address in the Mindset and Movement Technique Accelerator program that I created, which is a private coaching program. So if you want to work with me, we'll work one-on-one to really address your beliefs and your mental blocks around things like adagio that are making it a frustrating experience for you. I want to just say, though, for everybody, that I want you to practice playing around and just being aware of what pictures and words in your mind you are associating, or even feelings that you're associating to every step that you do. Even could you notice like what you believe about how competent you are in a certain area, how able you are to improve. I want you to just choose to believe, just have a default mode in your mind that you can. Of course, just with a better approach, a more positive attitude, a little more intentionality, maybe a little more time, a little more strengthening, of course you can always improve, of course. That really goes into adopting the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. The fixed mindset says you're just not good at extension. You're just never going to be the best at it, which just isn't really helpful. You're kind of taking a snapshot in time and saying that's as good as it'll ever get, or I will always struggle. It's an assumption about the future that holds you back. The growth mindset says that, of course, you can figure it out. Of course, tomorrow is another day. Of course, there's a solution to this. Maybe you haven't found it yet, but you will. If you persist, you can. The growth mindset assumes that there's always a way, and you're on a journey in which growth can happen. Work with the power of language too. If you catch yourself saying, I just can't hold my leg up. Again, play with the word float. It sounds silly. I heard teachers in my youth telling me, think happy thoughts when you're holding it out there for 8 counts. There's actually really something to that. You can play with the imagery in your head of breath, releasing the tension and lactic acid from your muscles. You can feel or even imagine a balloon is tied to your leg. It seems silly, but you guys, it works. It really does. So be playful with how you mentally associate to these steps. And I would love to hear in the comments, after you experiment a little bit, what happens. I have a feeling you'll start to see better results. You'll feel better in your body. You'll have fewer stressful thoughts that lead to a stress response in your body. And I think you'll start to enjoy things like Développés more. I'd also just like to pause to thank today's sponsor, again, balletok.com. I have been wearing Zarely tights for 3 or 4 years now, and since then I've kind of thrown away all my other brands of tights that I used to be very loyal to, because I find that they're incredibly comfortable. They're soft, and I love how there's no other pair of tights like it on the market in terms of adding compression technology to these tights. So they're not just there for looks, but they also use compression technology in the tights around key joints like your hips, your knees, and your ankles to actually help blood flow increase and to help you recover faster between classes, rehearsals, while you're standing, after you work out. And they have several different types of tights, some that you can use in rehearsal, some that are great for performing. And also I love the Z3 recovery tights, which are thicker. They're not really meant necessarily to dance in, although you can totally stretch in them. They're very comfortable, but they have extra compression. I used to wear these all the time after when we would have cast parties after a show, and I could not believe how much better my legs felt at the end of the night than if I hadn't worn them. But yeah, these are the tights here. I personally love getting the Z2 Perform tights in the theatrical pink color. I love that they are convertible tights, so you can easily pull them up. Personally, I really enjoy the waistband, so I do like to cut it. See, I cut the waistband here. And I find that it stays pretty well. It's extremely comfortable. They're so soft. You have the option to get a back seam or no back seam. And what I love about balletok.com in particular is that they actually have a tights recycling program. So yay for the planet, right? I've actually participated in this myself. All you have to do is go to the balletok.com website, ask for a free shipping label, or you can follow the instructions on the website. They'll email you a shipping label, put a bag of your tights in the mail, and you get a discount on your order of brand new Zarely tights. So go do it. It's awesome. Also makes you feel good, yes, my tights aren't just going in a landfill. How exciting. So check that out. Thank you again for balletok.com for sponsoring this video. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know in the comments what other technique tip videos you'd like to see from me. Let me know also your takeaways. I'd love to hear what you think about this video. They'll be nice. I know I'm not saying I'm a perfect example, but I do love sharing these concepts with dancers because I know personally these help me to feel so much more empowered in my own approach to adagio and steps like that. And it personally really improved my ability to do it well. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.